Well, welcome to Business Boone, a product of the Boone Chamber and hosted by Deep in Talent Strategies. I'm Shawna Lake.
And I'm Lauren Byrum. And today we have Pete Brown of Ash Interactive and RJ Craig from Hendricks Live. So thank you both for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
Today we're going to talk about how to have some creative marketing ideas for free or low-cost ideas. So the first thing that we like to talk about whenever we jump into these is asking you guys a silly question. So if your life was a movie, what would the title be of that movie for each of you?
Does this need to be an original title, or can we pick a movie that
Either
already
one.
exists? I'm going to go with Napoleon Dynamite. It's just one of my favorite movies, a total underdog story, a total just like, I don't know, it's just so great and sort of heartwarming and kitschy and goofy. And I think like professionally, I've been through all these interesting trails and exploring all these little nooks and crannies in all kinds of industries. And I think like being lighthearted but being passionate kind of comes through in that movie.
That's awesome.
There's definitely some passion in the movie.
There is. I cannot do that dance sequence yet, but like it's on my like bucket list is to learn the whole Napoleon Dynamite Jamiroquai dance.
Well, we'll have you back.
All right, cool.
I mean, I guess for me it would probably be Bullet Train just because it's nonstop all the time. I genuinely constantly feel like I am always on the go doing something or another, so yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
I think those are both great picks. Yes, thanks. So as we dive into this topic of kind of free and creative marketing, there might be some skeptics out there thinking there's no such thing as free. So we'll prove them wrong. But first, Pete, can you tell us a little bit more about you and your kind of story and then the agency?
Yeah, definitely. So my degrees are both formally in education. So I thought I was going to be an elementary teacher for 25 or 30 years, maybe become a principal or superintendent, something like that. But being a Michigander that is now an adopted Hoosier, we've been here about 20 years, and at that time, I took a little bit of a pivot in my professional career. So I got involved in arts administration. I spent about 8 years with the Idlejourg Museum in downtown Indy. Got very involved in art and music and just kind of the central Indiana, different little pockets. And eventually had a real strong passion for marketing and content creation, specifically for small business and nonprofits, because that's where my role ended up at the Idlejourg was in a marketing position. There's this thing called Facebook that people were kind of trying to figure out.
I might have heard of it.
And it was like, Pete, you look like you want to learn how to figure this out. And so there's a lot of those things that kind of got put on my lap. And it did a couple things for me. Like, number one, it started to show me that there were platforms and softwares and things out there that were just going to become these great equalizers in marketing, right? Long gone were the days of needing Don Draper at Mad Men to go design you a whole PR ad campaign and do all these hand-drawn. Like, it's getting digital, it's getting free and very low cost. Cell phones are getting a little bit better every year. And so it was really I think a chance to empower a lot of industries where people thought I can never market because I don't have $100,000 a year to spend to contract these folks. So to me, there's other little dips and loop-de-doos in the story too, but that's kind of what landed, me here today, founding Ash Interactive in 2012, and then, just being able to serve all the people that we've served over the last now 13 years, which sounds kind of crazy.
Thank you, and including Hendricks Live. So
Yeah.
RJ, tell us a little about you and the organization.
Yeah, so my name is RJ Craig. I'm the Development and Communications Coordinator for Hendricks Live. I actually graduated from college in May of 2023, so I was fresh off the boat last year when I was hired onto staff. I actually graduated with a degree in public health was my major, and then 2 minors in experience design and theater, which doesn't sound like somebody who would be shifting into the marketing role, but throughout my tenure at college, I did a lot of event-related stuff and a lot of marketing stuff because I was an RA and ACA, so I was kind of on that side of things. And yeah, Hendricks Live is the new home for arts and entertainment here in Hendricks County. We're located in downtown Plainfield, just off of Center in Maine. And we've been running since March 9th of last year was our first preseason concert. And since then, we've kind of hit the ground running and really haven't stopped just having an amazing turnout of just between the national artists that we've brought in, our community arts partners, and then also the amount of guests that we've been able to actually bring through our doors itself.
Yeah. All I hear about Hendricks County is how much it's growing and booming, so
Absolutely,
whatever
yes.
you're doing is working. So Pete, can you walk us through your partnership with Hendricks Live and the work that you've been doing together?
Yeah, definitely. So we were just sort of reminiscing about this while we were waiting for this filming to start, and I was reminded that Chris Petrelli is their executive director, or is it president?
Executive director.
All right, cool.
Yes.
So Chris Petrelli is their executive director, and I happen to be pretty good friends with his now wife back when they were still sort of dating. And she had heard about this place coming, and this guy she knew was thinking about applying for this job. And so I got to know Chris over coffee and over lunches as he was sort of doing his professional transition into this role. And one of the things that we talked about pretty regularly upon him accepting that position was saying, we're not opening for a year and a half. We're still a muddy pit. Should we be doing some marketing? What should we be doing? And for me, I remember going to one of their board of directors meetings when they were sort of introducing me to this concept of marketing this thing that's just a hole in the ground. And I said, Hendricks Live is going to be here for 100 years at least. This whole muddy pit is going to be here for like a year and a half. And everybody driving by this muddy pit wants to know what's going in this muddy pit, right? And so I said, there's actually a ton you can do right now to not only educate the community and stop the Facebook chatter groups from coming up with their own hypothesis, right? We know how dangerous that can be.
Yeah.
And so, so our relationship started out of going, we've got a year to really educate people on what's coming and really keep them updated with progress on the build, progress on the team and how they're growing, and progress on what sorts of organizations we're going to have here. So, like in so many other cases, we came on early to sort of help set a foundation and start telling stories early, start just simple things like setting up the social media pages, building the first website, establishing Google business page, things that are just sort of to-do starter items. But then, we're down in a muddy pit with ballerinas and people in tuxes playing trumpets, and we're climbing on buildings and shooting really interesting angles, fake security camera footage of people discovering what's here. Just like having a lot of fun. So that's like a really fun part of the job. But always knowing that once Hendricks Live started developing its team, that it would be a pass-off, and they're super fortunate, in having RJ on their team because it was a very seamless transition. I think there was probably maybe 60 days, 90 days of like, cool, we're going to do this, he's going to do that, here's why we're doing this, just kind of learning from each other, and then it's just been a really awesome pass-off, and to see them run with it and grow everything has just been really rewarding.
Yeah, that's great. So RJ, going to take us from that handoff to today.
Oh yeah, so about, I want to say May or June last year, we made the decision of splitting off from Ash to take over 100% because we felt at that point that they had propped us up well enough with enough information and enough expertise that we would be able to have that smooth transition out. It started out with the Facebook and Instagram pages. It went from them doing the daily posts and me just going in and checking on the stuff to me making all of the posts from the get-go and doing the photography and videography at the events and those sorts of things. And it's really been a smooth process. Honestly, I would say anytime that I had any questions for the Ash team, it was really easy to just be like, hey, Pete, XYZ, how do I fix it? Kind of thing. Because believe you me that there have been plenty of things over the year that we've had to shift and move a little bit, but we entirely got a new website from what Ash had originally built for us. We switched over from Squarespace to WordPress last month or so, and so that process itself was something that we just had to kind of take bit by bit to learn. And we were also really blessed to have another team with us, Lodge, on that side of things as well, specifically for the website.
And that's the amazing thing about marketing, is
Yeah.
it never stops. Like,
Absolutely.
marketers will always have a job as long as they're in touch
Absolutely.
with
Yeah.
like how trends are changing. Like even our discussion before hitting record was all about, well, what are the new platforms and what's this and what's closing and what's staying
opening,
open.
yeah.
It's like there's always needs to be somebody that's a resource for touching base with when you do go, oh, I really need to change platforms based on what my needs are today versus what they were 2 years ago. Or, hey, TikTok doesn't open anymore. What's going on? Where's everybody going now?
Yeah.
So, and RJ's done a great job of having his fingers on the pulse, because he's an appreciator of marketing personally, even outside of business. Yeah. And sometimes that's really hard for people to actually want to sort of study social media marketing and other marketing trends personally outside of their 9 to 5 or their 40 hours of I'm a marketer and I've always done it this way and I don't care what's coming, it's a fad, right? So
and it really is one of those things of you have to be adaptable in this sort of environment, because if you try to stay stagnant of, no, this is what worked for us for these 3 months. Yeah, but during those 3 months, everybody in the world was talking about those specific things.
Right.
Now we're not talking about that anymore. So you have to kind of shift and move to find where is that dial going. You kind of honestly have to be like in the weeds on the pages scrolling to see, like, depending on like what different trends are, or just generally where people seem to be allocating their time.
Sure.
It's good to know that Boone REMC is always there. For generations, we've powered the growth of our neighborhoods, businesses, and everything in between. Today, our commitment is stronger than ever to provide affordable energy you can depend on and keep you connected to what matters most, now and for generations to come. Boone REMC is a Touchstone Energy Cooperative, your source for power and information.
So talking about that dial that you were just mentioning, how has your creative marketing efforts impacted your mission and the reach that you have had? Like, how have you changing that? How is it affected?
So we actually saw a very distinct, like, numerical version of this, like, within our data. So obviously, as the marketing person, I'm also running all the data and analytics all the time for various things, and it really does help us, like, when we're running ads, for instance. Having those paid solutions allow you to see a direct number of, like, I'm spending 30 cents for a click on this ad versus I'm spending 16 cents. What's the difference? Why do we see this kind of thing? So it is really a matter of knowing your audience and knowing what to market when, which sounds easier said than done, but it really is a lot of the time, like, it's just a vibe, like, feeling kind of thing of, like, oh, this post is not doing that well, but our videos were doing exceptionally well for a few weeks. So let's switch over and start doing some more videos in hopes that people will maybe respond better to those normal photo type things.
Yeah. So you were just talking a little bit about some paid ads, but I know we kind of promised our listeners we were going to talk about some free. So let's go there. Let's talk about what are some of those free and creative marketing strategies where we started.
Yeah, so I think through the context of my mind, a lot of what we're going to talk about is maybe focused a little bit more on small business that are targeting a local market. Because there's a very different strategy behind each side of these. And I think for the Chamber, a lot of the members and things are smaller businesses targeting a local geographic area. So the top of the list for me, when we're working with different organizations, is really evaluating their Google business page. Google Business is a free thing to set up. Anybody with a Gmail account can set it up, and if your business doesn't have a Gmail account, hop in and get one. It takes
super easy.
20 seconds, and it's free. You may notice that personally when you're using your phone and you're like, well, where am I going to go to eat tonight? Restaurants near me. What's happening? Like, I want to go do something Saturday night. Entertainment near me. Concerts near me. And Google is just, they're just this monstrosity, right? They between Maps and Google Search and Chrome and everything else, they're also integrated. So it's very important to have a presence, especially if you also have a physical location, because again, it's analyzing your location, it's analyzing all the words that you're putting in your Google business profile, and that's something that's constantly evolving as well. So to set up, establish, and claim your Google business page, that would be number one for me. And 1B, that's 1A, is to make sure that you're extremely thorough with the content in Google, your Google business listings. So that includes things like there's areas to put in services and products, and a lot of people think, like even Ash, if you Google Ash Interactive in Maps and you
I did that on the way this morning to get here. Yes, I did. So I can attest to what he's talking about.
Then, even seeing things like, well, I instinctually go, well, we don't sell any products. I'm not selling shirts or mugs or anything, but there's no requirement there. So even under our products, it's video production, website development, brand development, business consultation. And Google scrapes all that stuff. So whether it's a service or a product, having a nice description of your company and what you do, and being strategic about including the names of areas that you serve. So you probably look at our page and you see serving Brownsburg, Avon, Danville, Central Indiana. You find little sneaky ways to incorporate these little keywords. So again, when someone goes marketing company Danville, small business marketing Plainfield, Central Indiana video production, those are all ways that we're going to show up in those results.
That's search engine optimization, SEO.
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
I would also
Big
say like
nowadays.
1C off of that too would be just making sure that you keep it up to date as well is super duper important because it's something that we have had to go in and edit a few things here and there, whether it's changing from like, our box office hours changed slightly, or, we don't want to list specific hours because it could be confusing for individuals to see, we're open from 10 to 4, but what about on event nights? Those kinds of things. Getting the finger on the pulse of like, what reviews are we getting? Because Google in their sidebar automatically has the ability for Google reviews to come in on top of like Yelps and those other sorts of businesses. But really just watching and seeing what questions also come in, because that's a huge thing that Google does is allow people to directly ask questions to the organization. And you should likely get an email when those things come through right away so that you can very quickly get to it and be like, so-and-so's asking like, where are you at? Even though it's probably listed on your business already.
And your website.
And people still ask those sorts of questions, so you want to be able to make sure that you can get to answer them as quickly as possible.
And another fun fact about the questions, this is something that's seemingly a little newer. It doesn't archive who asked the question, so it's another way to build up your own FAQs and add more search terms and bump up your SEO. So if you're like, cool, there's a space where I can go, how do I get to Hendricks Live? Where's the best place to park? Are tickets expensive to Hendricks Live? For example, something generic, but you can ask the question and you can answer your own question. So you can say, so RJ, whoever he wants to be, can go, is it expensive to go to Hendricks Live? And then RJ can answer, Hendricks Live is so affordable. The tickets are, number one, authentically, there are no service fees for the platform they use. So I will push that because no Ticketmaster charges that make you shake your fist in the sky.
So you see $40 for a ticket, it is $40 for a ticket.
Yeah.
Nothing
Very
else.
rare.
Yeah, and he can hop in and he can go, the concession stand was like well stocked and pretty affordable, and we always, and he can go in and do both sides of that. So I'd recommend that for every business because again, where if I live in Indy, is Hendricks Live a far drive? No, it only takes you 20 minutes. You go right down 40 and it's no big deal. Like little things like that are also sort of selling messages and addressing pain points, or I couldn't go all the way to Plainfield. That's practically Wyoming. No, you can go in there and do that. So, and then one other little piece off of that is, to RJ's point of keeping it updated, there's a great opportunity for uploading photos and videos in Google Business.
That as well.
We'll talk about that then.
I was going to say, I actually have to go in and take a couple more photos for our Google profile because I realized there was a couple shots that I had missed last year when I had gone through and done all of those. But it actually was one of the best ways to allow people to see the construction updates as they were happening without constantly posting onto the Facebook and stuff. So if you go back now, you won't be able to find the old construction photos and whatnot, but you will see the most updated photos of what does our lobby look like, what does the building itself look like. I mean, I have 4 or 5 different angles of the outside of the building, and then it's like, oh, where are the grand staircase, and like where's the elevator, and that kind of stuff, where you wouldn't necessarily know unless you've been to the building, getting to see, oh, what does the theater space look like? Is it as intimate as we say it is, which truthfully it really is one of the most intimate theater spaces I've ever been in. So I think that having those extra photos and stuff really just allows people to visualize and put a, for lack of a better term, face with a name for your business of like, oh, this is what the building looks like, this is what it looks like on the inside. And it could tip those scales of, I don't really feel like driving out to Plainfield, but it does look really nice in there, and so is playing, so it might be worth it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Google is a monster. We can all agree to that. And monsters like to be fed. And Google loves accounts that are giving them data and keeping eyeballs on their platform. So the more consistently you're able to feed them and keep updates going, then they are going to slowly know that you're playing in their playground, and they're going to boost
Raise
you up a
your
little bit
SEO.
too.
So what were your 2, 3, and 4 other marketing?
know.
We talked about pinball.
Let's see, other things about, I don't know, I could go on for a long time. But I think what we talked about in point 1A through D are primary. Start there, and then
people.
give me a call, and we'll talk about number 2 later.
That's great.
Yeah.
So beyond Google, other ideas?
I would say in terms of like the social side, it is free to set up your Instagram and to set up your Facebook, to set up your LinkedIn and YouTube pages and whatnot. While it does take the effort to make sure that those things look nice and are kept up to date, it is free to initially set them up. And it is genuinely such a great way to keep in touch with people. We have just over 5,000 followers on our Facebook page. And constantly, I mean, literally every single day, multiple times a day, I will have either a question in the comments or a direct message to us saying, hey, do you guys offer this service? Or how do I get to the parking garage? Or XYZ. It doesn't matter specifically what it is, but it is the best way for people to be able to be like, where do I go to get in contact with those people? Just because so many of us have used Facebook and Instagram and those different social platforms for so many years that it is almost second nature to use like Facebook Messenger as a messaging app compared to like emailing the info email or whatever. And it genuinely is honestly, at least for me, a lot faster of a way to get back to those individuals because things might get filtered out in your email, but on Facebook and on Instagram, they're able to just directly be like, hey, I need help with XYZ.
And I think to Lauren's earlier statement about SEO, search engine optimization, when Google or ChatGPT or Firefox or Safari, anybody's trying to give somebody an answer and they're scraping all this data, the more that they're seeing your name on other platforms is also helpful too. So I know there's a lot of times when I Google a small business and they might not even have a website or it's not very well developed. And so I might actually hear about their Facebook page before I hear about their actual website, or they would show up on a map. So, we always encourage our clients to claim every free platform you can claim, just so at least it has your name, your logo, your contact information. You can dive a little deeper next level into say, well, who is your target audience? Are you working with 75-year-old Caucasian women with a master's degree on average, or are you working with 17-year-old social media shoe influencers on TikTok? That's going to tell you which platform to actually spend time and energy in, but it's worth claiming all of those because, again, it costs nothing. You now have a really free, nice Gmail account because you already set up your Google business. So leverage that to just grab all those accounts on all those platforms to start.
And I would say on that note as well, make sure that you are staying consistent across platforms. So not just in like what you are posting, but also when it comes to like your name and your description and stuff. Because a lot of the times you don't think about how difficult it could be to find a business unless they are under their business name. But then you also don't think about the fact that somebody might not already have that tag or might have that handle. So like for us, it's Hendricks Live Inc. on both because obviously that's who we are as Hendricks Live, but we had to add the ink because otherwise we would have been Hendricks Live on one and ink on the other. So you kind of want to make sure that you stay consistent across those different platforms. So if you are just Ash on one versus Ash Interactive on another, it would make a difference of people being able to find you. So yeah, I would just say on the second note of that too, of like what you are posting should be consistent, and it is so easy. Literally, they have it built in for you to be able to cross-post everything from Instagram over to Facebook and vice versa.
That's true.
LinkedIn's a little bit harder to get on at the same time, but regardless, you can schedule the posts across all of these platforms. Correct me if I'm wrong. Almost every single platform at this point has a, hey, I'd like to post this at this time on this day. And that is something that really just helps clear up the workflow and makes it so that you're not constantly, oh, I need to publish this at 4 o'clock. Let me wait and sit and wait until 4 o'clock to press go. No, you can just set it at noon to go up at 4 and you're good. So
Nice.
And should we jump into like some content creation for social too? Because that's a big question
That
I
would
hear
be
a
great.
lot. It's like, yeah, I'd love to do all that, but I don't have time. It's too hard. I don't have a nice camera. I don't, I hate seeing myself on camera. I hate hearing my voice. So, all the things that we've overcome to be at this table today, right? Number one, your phone is all you need. A smartphone is all you need. If you have a choice and you are really concerned about quality, we're kind of I'm an Apple person, Apple family, so I like it. The iPhone's capabilities are really nice, but there are some great strategies. So I'll kick it off and then I'll pass it over to you. The first thing I want to talk about is actually leveraging things like ChatGPT and different AI platforms to help you come up with topics to post about. Very rarely does ChatGPT give you these awesome copy and paste answers to anything. So I would never encourage anybody to go into ChatGPT with your free Gmail account, set up your ChatGPT account, and then say, again, if you're a plumber, could you please write 10 posts, topical posts about plumbing in a humorous style that I can use on Facebook, and hit enter. And it will pop out 10, humorously written pieces. And they're probably going to be bronze or silver. But so take a look, copy it, paste it, make some changes to it, and then take a photo in your shop or of your business or drop your logo in there and start going. Because I think that's the number one obstacle is I don't know what to talk about. I have a cupcake shop. I've already talked about what cupcakes I'm making this week, and everything else is boring.
So I would say, though, it is good to note that you want to make sure that you are making sure that the use of the AI is also as a tool and not necessarily as a crutch, because it can very easily become that's AI generated when you look at a caption or whatever. So it is important to note, like, yes, the tools are very, very helpful, but they are that tools.
Absolutely.
Once you get the paragraph, please proofread it. Please make sure that things are laid out the right way, because I've used ChatGPT in the past to help clarify pre-made paragraphs, but in that process, thank you, in the process of using it as the tool, it is something that you just have to be so careful of not letting it replace the work that you would have been doing.
Yes.
And in your voice too.
Because you will lose so much of the creative process in that generation.
I think you'll lose that authentic connection with your audience that you're striving for.
And people can read authenticity just off of one line.
Absolutely.
So
do you want to talk a little bit about some of the free tools that we've already talked about using?
So one of the things that I used all the time in college for like normal big marketing stuff was Canva, and I now still use Canva daily. There is a paid version and the free version, but you really only need the free version. The paid is just to save like specific branding stuff and whatnot, but you will get everything that you need using that free version of Canva. Really is just a matter of go in and click around, make sure that you understand how the different tools work, but they do have a really good design and template catalog that you can type in, I need something that is a donor thank you type post, and then you can scroll through and see the different stuff that other people have made, and whether or not you choose to use that as a starting block or just as an inspiration for what yours could look like. Either way, it is just a super duper helpful tool in making that process a lot easier.
For sure.
Yeah.
We use it a ton here as well with a lot of the clients. We have clients that we work with, every single month on creating content. And just like ChatGPT, you don't want to use it all the time.
Right.
That you can tell, and designers can tell, and marketing agencies can kind of go, yeah, look at all the ChatGPT stuff, or the Canva stuff they're producing. So it is important to have that nice, highly polished, template-driven pieces, but also sprinkling authentic stuff.
Yes.
Again, even if your shop isn't or your business isn't like the fanciest or most cutting edge, like there's so many good reasons to create real content. And it always doesn't necessarily, again, we're talking local, it doesn't always have to be just pushing your business, pushing your services, pushing what you sell. So there's so many opportunities to shine light on different businesses, and actually also, to our earlier point, sort of personify your business and have that voice and show your actual authentic personality to the community and to the people who are hopefully going to be working with you. So
I think another really useful thing on that note too is the stories function of the Facebook and Instagram platforms, because it is something that the algorithm is something you always have to keep in mind when doing normal posts. But when you are messing with stories, you really don't have to worry about getting smacked down. So if you post way too much, the algorithm will kind of hide your posts from people. If it is like 4 or 5 posts a day and you are getting 0 to 1 like on it, it is likely that you should probably pull back and do maybe 1 to 2 posts a day. But the stories function, it really doesn't matter. You can kind of flood that with as much as you want. And then they do have the really nice function of having the highlights to be able to go back and save those stories. So we have a couple different highlights. Like one of them that we used was for the 2024 holiday events. I used that one a lot to just loop back and be like, hey, if you want a holiday event, go there. And then I also have one for our upcoming event series as well. And just using stories actually helped increase our reach with people, just because you don't have to be following that account necessarily to always see those stories. So it is really helpful in order to not only get the word out, but also retain that word within the groups that do follow you already.
So we've covered a lot of great ideas here, and we probably should come back together and talk about some more ideas. Is there anything else that you think would be helpful for our audience to know?
Yes, one thing that you should know if you're listening from around central Indiana right now is that we host marketers meetups around central Indiana. So every single Thursday in 2025, it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We have a marketers meetup. We have one in Hendricks County, one in Boone County, one in Fishers up at Launch Fishers, and one downtown at 16 Tech. And that's where these kind of conversations just go and kind of go on. So we have a different topic each month. And if you're a small business owner or maybe a marketer for another company that's just looking for new ideas, wants to network with like-minded people, it can be a great opportunity to connect and kind of dive into other topics.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Before we let you go, though, we always want to know one thing that you know now that you wish you had known a little bit earlier in your career, or perhaps that you know now maybe before graduation.
I'll jump in because I'm an old dog, right? I'm a little older than RJ, probably double. But I think what that has taught me is the importance of lifelong learning and the importance of old dogs and new tricks, right? I think everybody has an excuse why they can not do something. But the fact that I can sit with somebody, that's coming right out of school at this stage, and we can have an authentic conversation about some things that are very modern and constantly evolving and constantly changing. If I can do these things for my business, then anybody can do these things for their business.
Yeah, that's great.
So I would kind of echo that same sentiment of, while it is a very overwhelming area to be in a lot of the time when you are just in the weeds, knee deep, neck deep even, just scrolling through stuff, being able to just take a step back, take a breath, recalibrate, and then jump in is so helpful. So taking that time for yourself away from the socials is incredibly helpful, I would say.
That's great advice.
That's very good advice.
Oh yeah, I mean, being in it 9 to 5 every day is already enough. So once you're clocked out, you really don't want to be on it as much anymore. So
Thank you.
So if our listeners wanted to get in touch with you both, how would they do that?
Sure, the easiest way for me is to visit ash-interactive.com. You can click on the Our Team area and get information there, fill out a contact form. Happy to chat with anyone.
And for me, you can go to hendrickslive.org and you can click on the About section and go to Our Team. And I am RJ in the little green sweater, or you can reach out to me through email at randy, Craig, Craig, at hendrickslive.org.
Thank you both so much for being here. I think we covered a lot of ground, and I hope that our listeners got some great advice, and we proved that there is something to be said for free.
Oh, sure.
So, thank you very much. And we will be back with more insightful conversations. In the meantime, continue leading and growing with purpose.